In my last episode before
Oh.
the babes is here.
Oh.
Oh God.
Are we just starting?
Let's
Because I think
just
that let's just roll with it. That makes me sad, but also so excited.
wait, check your mic. It sounds a little funky.
Oh, it probably is messed up from like the settings before.
Maybe
Yeah, that's why. Okay.
there. You're better now.
We
Okay.
are. LOL. What am I gonna do without you?
I mean, I don't even have a mic. I feel like it sounds okay though, right? Am I
No, I
okay?
feel like it does sound good.
I'm like, Chad was like, "Are you gonna
Right?
do the floor?" I was like, it takes too much effort to get up there these
It's
days.
it's too much. It's way too much.
Oh my God.
We're gonna get into all the pregnancy and baby coming soon things.
Mhm.
But we first have literary things to attend to. Well, actually, first, we have to judge each other.
Yes, we
Do you
do.
have one?
I do. And I was thinking this morning about what I wanted to talk about. And mine is more of a therapy session. So you're
Ugh,
actually not allowed to judge me on this because
good
I
try.
know your response, and I know most of the people's responses will be in support of it.
Yeah.
But something that's been
Still
on
good
my
to,
mind,
sorry, shake this
yeah,
up a little.
take that bad boy up. Something that I'm ruminating on lately
Mm.
is obviously we're gonna get into the nitty-gritty of the end of my pregnancy, but I am having like severe stretch marks on my stomach, and
Mhm.
it's like literally all over my stomach at this point. And I've never been one to like mind the way my body looks, and I always like changing as I grow up. But it is like really like I look in the mirror and I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And it's just been something that's been like on my mind, and I wanted to just like put it out there because I'm sure other people have gone through like you just grow and get stretch marks, or you get pregnant and
Totally.
you get stretch marks. And also like on top of that, just being like bigger in this phase of pregnancy. I've said this too, but like the amount of comments that I'm getting are like still just absolutely insane.
Yeah.
And it's just my public service announcement to never call someone big and to never comment on the way that they look.
No.
Because like, what is the point? Like, I literally like get told I'm big like 5 times a day by the Marshall's checkout lady
Yeah.
or my relatives. Like, none of my friends have said anything. But it's also like, I'm so happy that I have like a supportive husband that makes me feel good and everything. But like, it is for someone who is pretty strong in that front, it is really freaking hard. So just venting that my self-image is struggling. And if yours has been too, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's change and
Yeah.
it ebbs and it flows and I'm sure you're gonna have days where it doesn't bother you so much and then you're gonna have days that are really hard, but maybe we take some gentle reminders of like it all
Yes.
passes, you know? It's like bad weather. Like it never stays around for too long. Like eventually the sun will come back around.
Very true. We agree.
Um, I also, when you started saying like my public something, I thought you were about to say like it's just my public life that I'm living
As an influencer
has
on
opened myself up to all of these comments because actually, and this is part of my judge me, is when we posted something, you had talked about this earlier in the pregnancy on the podcast, and we posted it on TikTok, and the amount of trolly comments that we got that were like, get over it, you're so sensitive. And it's like, no,
right. Right. Absolutely.
absolutely not. Absolutely not.
No.
It's
Yeah. People are
2024. Like, we should know better about commenting on people's bodies, whether you think you're complimenting or it's not with bad intention. It's just unnecessary.
yes. Yes. So don't do it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry that you're feeling that way because that is sucky.
Yeah. What's your judge me?
My judge me is about the TikToks that I posted on our podcast TikTok.
I love it.
And I somewhat restrained myself, but I'm judging myself for the amount that I want to fight everyone in the comment section, minus the few like chef's kiss comments that we got from a few women that were like, Never always to like BJ's and sex and all of that. Like the
Yeah.
way that I wanted to hop in that comment section and just like fire fingers, like
Well,
because and I know that like I should not let it bother me because these people are like such irrelevant uglies. It doesn't matter. But I'm like, "Ah, this is our safe space. Like this is for the ladies. We're not asking the men to comment."
I
And then
know.
I feel like it reminds me of all the like disgusting men out there that are just out here roaming these streets, allowed to interact with women on a daily basis, and like that frightens me. I'm
Yes.
like, we
No.
need to cage these animals.
I know it's so hard for having like a little bit of a platform that we do because it's like in one sense you want to just be like super open, raw,
Mhm.
vulnerable, and just like have conversations that are uncomfortable. And then people are mean, and you're like, well, this is why people don't talk about certain things, you know? And
Right.
it's like this is one small example, and it's like, why can't if everyone was just like a little bit nicer, don't you think it would be like such a nicer place to live, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the internet is like a scary place anyways, and it did crack me up how like on the Instagram, crickets, not a word. On
Mhm.
TikTok,
Blew up.
people were going on both sides, just going off,
Yeah.
which it can be fun, but like
Yeah.
it definitely shows me that like I am not equipped. I would never be equipped to handle the amount of like commentary and backlash and criticism that like some of these, whether like I don't know, influencers or people that
Mm-hmm.
are have big followings, like, oh, I could not deal.
I know. I feel like I would just get into a cocoon and not share anything because I'd be
Yeah.
like, this isn't worth it. But that's, part of the problem.
Yeah.
So we're gonna keep
Totally.
talking and chatting and tweeting, and you can share
Yeah.
or not. Okay.
And
So
I am proud of that conversation that we had. Like, I think it was an uncomfortable conversation, and the two of us also both were nervous,
yeah.
kind of going into it, and like because it is a sensitive and such a personal topic.
Mhm.
But again,
And you're
yeah.
like, it's always like, am I doing this right? Am I doing this wrong? And so, like we always say, it's like this is why we're having the conversations because we're all worried about it. So
Right. Exactly.
here's a safe space. Okay.
Mm, yeah.
Haters away. We cannot take you right now.
Please stop. Seriously
Ugh,
though, I can't.
okay.
All right. This month we read A Gentle Reminder, which was a lovely change of pace, I
Mhm.
felt. Just from the other book club books. Like I've loved the book club books so far. Well, minus one, as we know. But I felt like it was a nice redirection, and it was well timed for myself at least.
It was so digestible. You use that adjective in one of our
Mm,
so digestible. I felt like I could just like pick it up and read it and just like it I before bed, like a feel good. And it also made me kind of like think in a really artistic way, I guess you could say.
mm,
And it was like the imagery was actually really cool to be
yeah.
able to kind of picture some of the things they were trying to explain. And yeah, I have notes, and one of my first one was Wowzers speaks to the soul.
Yes, like I feel like this was such like I definitely because I was like reading it for the podcast and like also it was like I need to get through this book and finish it in a timely manner. Um but I feel like this is a kind of book you can have on your shelf for the rest of your life, and you can just pull it down, flip to a random page, and like on the back it says take what you need, which I loved. And you can just do that. And yeah, it really is like thought provoking. I was like underlining things and sticky noting, and
You know what I was,
it
which was so annoying, was screenshotting different pages and sending them to like all of my friends and family.
yes. You're like,
I was
Becky
like, this
needs this
reminds me of
today.
you. They're like, okay, that's about heartbreak and disappointment, but okay.
Yes, you are disappointment, but I'm getting over it.
I loved it though. And I really did think about different people as I was reading. And I was like, this would help this person, you know? It was
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like I could relate so many stages of my life to different chapters or readings or whatever. And I also really appreciated what a different kind of book it was. Like it wasn't like educational. It wasn't poetry.
Mhm.
They weren't really like, I guess you could sort of call them like essays, but I also loved just the freedom in that. And like,
Mhm.
in like, you can write a book and it can be whatever you want it to be too. Like, you don't have to write it and it be like a researched out thing about mindset. It doesn't have to be a story in a novel. It can
Mhm.
also be something like this, which I
Can
thought
be
was
the
very
truth.
beautiful.
And I
Yeah.
also think it was a self-help book, but it wasn't self-help. Like it wasn't like this is what you should do to better yourself, or like this is the
No.
example that I want to give from my own life, which I also
Mhm.
love a few stories like that.
Yeah.
Um, but it was very just like here's a reminder, or here's a thought, take from it what you will. And I feel like different people probably processed it a little bit different
Yeah.
too, depending on your own experiences, which is really
Yeah.
cool.
And I bet in different stages of life, like in a few years, if you picked it up, like one of the essays would probably resonate in a different way than it did right now in this time of life.
Mhm.
And there actually, I feel like I had a doozy of a therapy session yesterday. Like, we're just working through some shit. And I felt like it was really good timing with that because I'll be straightforward. We're working on my shame of my past self. Which
That's
is,
hard.
it's really hard, and there were so many chapters about forgiving yourself and um like, I don't know, just like the reasons why people come in and out of your life, and how even like healing isn't linear, where like there's some stuff that I thought I had kind of like worked through and like checked that box off. And turns out that's not how healing works. Sometimes those wounds reopen or you have to face it more. Um, yeah. So it
Yeah.
also was helpful in that.
One of my little notes that I said was there were a lot of entries about accepting a love that isn't perfect, or maybe
Mm,
one that comes and goes, and just being happy about it being part of your life. And I
mm,
think that was really beautiful too. And even thinking about this idea of shame, like just accepting that you weren't a perfect version of yourself at that time, but like it's part of your story and who you are and how you
yeah.
learned and the love you have for yourself now, and just like being happy that it was part of your life and part of your story.
Yeah.
And I feel like she uses much more graceful words than I just did, but it was really, I was like, yeah, that's so true. Instead of like hating this boy or hating myself at
Hmm.
this time of my life, like that led me to who I am today. Just like when I make
Right.
mistakes today, or I don't have patience or I get mad at someone, it's like this is all part of like moving up and moving forward, and it's just part of this like amazing and privileged journey that we're on as human beings.
Yeah, I totally agree. And there were so many reminders that, like, I wish I had had this book earlier in life too. Like these little tiny quotes that I think would have given me a lot of comfort during that messy time in your like early 20s where you're trying to figure yourself out and you're dating all the wrong people and feeling like down about it all. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it.
So I wrote a note and I haven't read it, but I want to read it out loud. It
Yeah.
says, "What theme did you think was meant for you?" I resonated a lot with the beauty and healing.
Hmm.
And I said that because whenever I go to like woo-woo people, the message I always get is that it's hard to accept that this is likely like my biggest lesson in life. Is just knowing I have to keep going and healing something that I never broke in the first place, like whether it's
Mm,
childhood trauma or what other people have done to me. And it's like a constant, like, I need to keep healing it. I need to keep going. Like, this is part of why I'm here. And so I was wondering, like, what you gathered, like, what theme you kind of got from it, because obviously you have a different experience in your life. Like,
yeah.
what, yeah.
Yeah, actually very similar, probably because it's on my mind right now because my therapist was like, you need to write a letter to your past self and we're gonna talk about it. Or she's nicer than that. She's like, you can do it if you want, or if not, if you're not ready, we'll do it another time. I'm like, Karen, that means I have to do it, okay?
Yes. Yes.
Um, so I feel like there was definitely a lot of that, like finding forgiveness for yourself because it wasn't your fault, and there were choices that you made because you were doing the best with what you had and you didn't have the tools that you have today. And yeah, to like just keep going, and that healing isn't linear. There were a few things that like I think I would have in the past taken more on like face value, but because like recently I feel like I'm working towards trying to get away from like blaming myself for past things. Sorry, I'm being like so vague, but we're not getting into it tonight. But there was a lot of stuff that was like, this is the lesson that you were meant to learn and you were meant to do this. And I do believe that in a way. Like, I feel like your soul is kind of like supposed to learn certain lessons in this life. And like, you sort of like the whole soul contract thing and all of that. Like, I do believe in that for the most part. But then there's also some things that like people did to me that I'm really working on being like, that wasn't meant to happen. That wasn't like a written in the stars thing that I had to learn. Like, it's an unfortunate thing that happened, but like, it wasn't, I don't know, like there's some tragedy that I think isn't like written in the stars, you know what I mean? But
Yeah,
at the same time, you can choose what you're going to do with it and how you're going to heal. And there's a lot of that in there, which I really liked.
that is so beautiful. I
Oh my
love that.
God. Thank
It's
you.
really true because that there is such a delicate balance of like everything happens for a reason and like God wouldn't give you something that you couldn't handle,
Mm,
all of that bullshit. That's like actually like childhood cancer should never be a thing. Like all of
right.
you like just as one big example. But
Yeah.
it's like it's unacceptable.
Right. Like there's some tragedy that like it doesn't have to be like a meant to be thing. It can just be like, yeah, life actually is really hard and sometimes really bad shit happens.
Yeah,
But it doesn't have to be your whole story
that's
either.
right. That's right. So, do you want to read it? One of your essays that stuck out to you?
Sure. Okay, I'm gonna do one quote and then maybe like one more like paragraph one.
Okay.
Let's see. I wrote down the page numbers. Okay, I loved this one and I felt, oh, I'll read it first and then we'll talk about it. If you were capable of feeling so much towards those who may not have always been gentle with your heart, imagine how beautiful love will be when it is right. Imagine how beautiful love will be when it stays.
Oh,
I'm like, I wish that someone told me that when I was younger because it's like, I feel like you can feel so down and you can feel so like, oh, it's stuff that I did or why didn't it work out. And it's like, I love that concept of like, if there were so many good feelings and your heart can be so open to someone that like wasn't right for you, imagine like how good it's going to get when that energy is matched back. And it's so true.
it is true. I know. It's always like that thought of like keep going, and it's like it is so true. I think
Yeah.
like my high school self of like just trying to glue myself to different partners and like
Mm,
making them perfect in my head. And then the
mhm.
little moments that were perfect, and now to have that as my constant is so magical and you're
Right.
so right. It's like if you could have gotten that message then.
Yeah, which is like also just not how life works. But I like that there is stuff like this out there. Like I hope a young like 15-year-old picks this up and is like, "You know what? Yeah, Jimmy, I'm going to my coding for women class instead. Like
Yeah.
I'm gonna be a woman in STEM and I'm gonna make a lot of money and you're gonna be a big fat loser in this town forever."
Oh my God.
Do you have
Um,
one?
I do. Mine's long, so
Okay,
you're gonna have to hang on.
that's
And it's like
fine.
a little like dark in the same part. Like I read this and I kept
Okay.
rereading it and I loved it so much because it like really painted a picture for me. So here we go.
Mm,
I hope you have the courage to do the hard work. I hope you have the courage to sit down with your demons, to befriend them, to look them in the face, and to not feel fear. I hope you have the courage to stop picking or numbing or avoiding the wounds within, and I hope you choose to heal them instead. I hope you have the courage to understand yourself fundamentally, to open up the deepest, darkest parts of your mind, to unhinge your rib cage, revealing the gritty parts of your soul, the parts no one else claps for. And I hope you have the courage to clean them out, to forgive yourself for what you had to do to kill your sadness, to forgive yourself for the ways in which you didn't fight for the person you were becoming. I hope you have the courage to nurture your pain, to not disregard it or sweep it under the rug of distraction or convenience. I hope you have the courage to heal yourself even when it hurts.
Mm.
I know.
I feel like
I'm
we're
like,
like at a poetry reading. I'm like, snaps.
yeah. Um, and I feel like that really resonates with me because I have really done hard work in my life with therapy and like getting to really ugly parts of things that I've gone through and the person that I have been at certain parts of my life. And it's like embarrassing to even admit, and there's so much shame within. But by like unhinging your ribs, like I love that sentence of like,
Mhm.
here it is. Like I tell like Chad every little bit of me, all the ugly parts and stuff. And it's like, that's why I am the person I am because I've dealt with that. And then I was reflecting too, like my family members who also have been through things and have made bad choices and don't do the work are in really dark places. And it's
Mhm.
just really easy for me to kind of compare, maybe not myself to them, but like different family members to different family members who have done the work and have gone to the hard places and how beautiful their lives are now.
Mhm.
It's so worth it. And so I encourage everyone to accept themselves and to do the hard work. It's hard, but it is beautiful.
It is. And it's like, even though, like, yeah, yesterday I bawled my eyes out for like 45 straight minutes, but then one, I felt so like relieved on the other side. And there's so many just things to learn about yourself and ways to look at the world differently and look at all the people in your life differently too, and have a better understanding of other people and yourself. Like,
Yeah.
it's so worth it. Yeah, I think I bookmarked that page too. And there was another one that was like oh, I don't know where it is, but it was talking about how like in the hard times you have to like focus on such the small joys in life to like dig up happiness again, where when you're in like your most big joyous moments of life, like you kind of take all that small stuff for granted, so there can be something so beautiful. And like even though you're going through a hard time, the reminder of how good it can be just to like feel the sun on your face, to like sit and enjoy a good cup of coffee, like grounding you back down to those like simple pleasures that add up to a lot. And I liked that one a
I
lot
love
as well.
me. My hormones are really living in this right now. Okay. Oh my
I just
gosh.
loved it. It was so great.
Me too. How many stars would you give it?
5.
Yeah, same.
Love.
Easy.
Yeah, easy 5. Boom.
Whoa.
Love to see it. Um, shall we do a bump date?
We'll do a bump date. Yeah. Bump
Bump it
is
up.
bump it up. Right now it is Thursday. What is it? February 23rd, 22nd.
Hmm.
And I'm 38 weeks and 1 day pregnant.
That is
And
crazy.
I know my due date's March 6th. Um, and I'm like doing all the things. I'm eating 6 dates a day. I'm drinking like 18 cups of red raspberry leaf tea. I'm curb walking. I
What does
am,
that mean?
you like put one foot on the curb and one foot on the street and you walk down the street and look a little crazy. It's just
Oh,
your head's jammed in your pelvis to
mm,
sit.
comfortable.
Yeah, it's super fun. Um, I'm doing all the stretches. So yeah, I'm like doing it all. But babe is still in there and they feel very big. I've had like little tinges of feeling like something's happening. Like
Mm.
I wouldn't say I'm like cramping or anything like that, but like this is gonna sound wicked weird. Do you know when you get your period and you can like kind of taste different? Does that make sense? Have you ever felt that way?
That like food tastes different?
Food tastes different, or like something in your body is just like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I always think of like blood, like a metally taste or something
Mm.
like that. I don't know how to
Yeah,
describe,
yeah.
but
Like
like that
something is not right.
something's a little weird. So I definitely feel like we're getting there.
Mm.
My body is in so much freaking pain. It
Oh,
is excruciating. I'm up every 45 minutes at night and
no.
I
Awful.
usually wake up at like 2 or 3 for good. So that's been a challenge, but
That's
honestly, like it feels like you're in the newborn phase and I've been there before, so at least I know kind of like,
You're like preparing yourself.
yes, I'm definitely trying to simplify things. Like my table has like no coasters or like
Mm.
fancy things. Like I just want everything like away, you know?
Yeah, totally.
Um, so yeah, I feel like I'm definitely in the mode of like ready to just hibernate for a little bit,
Yeah.
ready for the baby to come. I'm in a lot of pain. My body is like, we're done here.
Mm.
Um, but everything's really good. I had a doctor appointment today and my like literally I just feel so happy that like the blood pressure is always good and the
Good.
baby's head's down and their heart rate's good, the fluid's good. They did tell me that my success of VBAC is 72% and that I could die or baby could die or my uterus could explode. So really knock on wood for that.
Is the uterus exploding mostly just a risk of from the VBAC, or that's just a general thing that could happen?
That's the VBAC because your uterus could tear from the incision site, which like is a that's like one of the biggest
Mm.
concerns, obviously, having a VBAC.
Right.
So yeah, there's no promises, but
Is
things
the
are
percentage, sorry, I mean, this is just fascinating. Is the percentage a little bit lower because it's been like, I don't know, a year and 8 months, a year and a half or something? Like,
no, she said the doctor, medical doctor, who I haven't seen
mm,
at all my whole pregnancy, was actually super optimistic and positive. And she's like, that's
great.
a high percentage. So I think even if you didn't
Wonderful.
have a C-section before, I think that your percentage is never like super high because we live in
Yeah,
the United States and like 1 in 3 or 1 in 4 people end up with a C-section. It's
right.
like the highest surgery in America, which is kind of crazy. Like if that's what you've chosen to do, then like
I mean,
good
yeah, I'm
girl.
not making any faces or noises because of that. I'm making the faces and noises because like we're like the most developed country with the highest more like mortality rate for women.
Yes.
I'm not saying that to freak you out. I'm just
Oh,
saying
it's
because
true.
like the just culturally it's like what the fuck is wrong with our system because it should not be like that.
You know. It was
Okay,
up.
on a more positive note, how big is baby like measuring?
It's so funny too because every doctor's office is different. I've
Right.
literally had 2 ultrasounds this whole pregnancy. One when it was 13 weeks and then 20 weeks. And since the baby's healthy and I'm healthy, they don't do any more ultrasounds.
Right.
Um, like the baby moves a ton, so if you're having trouble, like you don't really feel them, then you can like you can call and they'll
Right.
a right in. Um, but yeah, so I have no idea. I'm measuring like when they measure your belly, I think they start at
Mm.
like 20 weeks or something. And I'm actually always measuring right on my week. So I
Cool.
measured 38, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I know it correlates with the week, so I'm measuring right on, but like Annie was 7 pounds, 10 ounces and had a 96th percentile head. So I'm assuming this baby will be around the same type of
Yes.
thing. But I keep telling myself, my body made the baby, so my body can handle the baby. And
Yes,
a big
100%.
thing that I'm gonna die on that hill because I really think that like if your body created this thing, like it knows
Yeah.
how to labor it.
There are small ass ladies that push out like 10-pound heads. So
Yeah,
you're gonna be great.
they'll come here some way, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm excited. I'll keep you guys
Mm.
informed. I did see a psychic at the very beginning of my pregnancy,
Ooh.
and she said that she was seeing the number 2 or 3 for a birthday. And I was like, okay, well, is it going to be
The
tomorrow,
23rd?
the 23rd, or is it going to be March 2nd or March 3rd? So those are
Um,
kind of the only things that are sticking in my head. But
mhm,
if it's
mhm,
tomorrow,
mhm.
God bless. Okay. Like
Right?
I'm
You're like, we
for
already, that doesn't
it.
freak you out? Or you're
No,
just
I'm like,
like, get this
I'm
out of me. Let's
so
just
ready.
start this.
Yeah, I'm like actually really excited. I like I wrote a letter to myself about like
Mm.
what I'm looking for in this because there is a lot of fear. I mean, there's no doubt who's not afraid to
Of
give birth.
course. Of course.
It's terrifying. But it's also like what do you want, like, what's your intention out of this? And I feel like I've said this and I sound so like ridiculous, but it is a
No.
privilege to be able to birth someone,
Yes, it
know?
is.
And, like,
Absolutely.
it's like pretty much as extreme that you can make your body go through. And it's like, that's really cool to be able to be a living being, but be so close to like this catharsis or so close to like your spirituality, whatever you want to
Yeah.
term it. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited to like experience it and see what it's like. I mean,
Yeah.
scared still, but
But I
I'm
think both of those things can exist at the same time, where it's like, whoo, I know this is going to be a lot. I know it might be scary, uncomfortable, but it also is it's just such a badass thing that women
yeah,
do. And so it can be so spiritual, so like
yeah.
just crazy.
And different people have different experiences every day. Like some people literally have orgasms their whole labor.
Oh my God, I know. And
So
also, like,
maybe that
go
will be
off, queen.
it.
You get it.
I'll let you guys know how that goes.
Yeah. You're like, I bought a brand new
Yeah, I'm
vibrator.
like,
I
I'm a
mean, I
success.
have heard that that helps.
A vibrator during labor, really?
Well, like orgasming,
Oh, yes.
you
Yeah, they
know,
say they do that a lot, but like
which would make sense because it's like
body
you're
pain.
relaxing everything.
That's true.
But yeah.
Yeah,
And also, like, I'm not saying this is scary. I'm saying this for any listener out there that had like a birth that was not spiritual. Like, yeah, and sometimes it's not. And sometimes it really fucking sucks and you get the short end of the stick.
Mhm.
And that's okay too, because it's all part of the journey.
Yeah. And I do tell Chad this all the time because like my ideal, like if I were to have a dream right now, I would like
Mm.
labor in my house and give birth to my
Mhm.
baby in the tub and it would just be this like beautiful magical thing. That's not my birth plan, by the way. Like
Yeah.
I plan on birthing in the hospital, but I also tell him I'm like if I start to have like one contraction and I'm like, I want the epidural. I was like, do not say one thing. I'm like, it could go either way. And he's like,
Yes.
whatever you want. And I do truly believe that. Like, whatever you feel comfortable in is going to be beautiful. And it's
Yeah.
important. So,
Do you feel comfortable sharing your birth plan?
yeah, totally. I mean, so
Okay.
they always say like nothing goes as planned. So
Right.
like preferences, I think they term.
Mm,
But yeah, so my plan is to stay at home as long as I can
love
because it
that.
goes into like fight or flight basically. And so like if you're in your own like little den, then you feel as safe as you can. So like your body will just go through as much as it can. And yeah, just like movement, shower when I'm here. And then when you get into active labor, I think there's like 3 stages of labor. I might be totally wrong, but I think there's 3. There's like early labor, so definitely want to stay home as long as I can. Active labor is when you're having contractions within like every 3 to 4 minutes or something like that.
Hmm.
So then going into the doctor so they can monitor the heart rate because obviously I'm doing the VBAC, so they want to make sure that I won't have a rupture or anything like that. And then I like really would love to have an unmedicated VBAC.
Yeah,
Not going to judge myself if that is not the case. I
totally.
am not a hero in any sense. Like me, I do not have a high pain tolerance. And I know that about myself. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna see how I feel. I would love to not have an epidural, but if I need one, I need one, and that is okay
Yeah,
too.
totally.
And I want to be in the hospital as short as I can.
Mhm.
I have my doula. I have Arlene, who was on the podcast before. I'm doing it with the midwives. So
Yeah, will
yeah,
they be there during the labor?
yep, yep. Yeah.
Nice.
And I have your candles that you gave me that are in the bag behind me. So I'm gonna
Woohoo!
see. I got my playlist. I have my tens machine, which I don't even really know what it is, so don't
Yeah,
ask me.
I was gonna say, what is that?
It's like the things that they put on, like if you're having a heart attack, like the sticky pads, you put
Mm.
them on certain places of your body, and it's supposed to kind of like take the pain away or
Oh,
do something like that, like make the pain go to one spot. I don't know. I'm gonna try it.
yeah,
And they say that water is medicine for this, so
yeah,
likely burn my skin off the whole time.
yeah.
I'm just gonna do what feels good.
Love it. Did you ever listen to Catherine's and Keena's Manifestation Babes birth story podcast. And
Yes.
she was like, I laid in that shower for 5 hours straight, clutching combs, trying to make this shit work.
The combs is so funny. I don't have the combs. I bet it works. I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but it's so funny the things that
Oh,
like we're
yeah.
gonna trick
Just to save you
ourselves with.
pain.
We're like, put pain somewhere else.
Yes.
Like I remember I was watching this one video about how to prepare for labor, and it was like submerge your hands into a bucket of ice water for 10 minutes and try to just breathe through it and then take them out and then put them back in. And I'm like, what? What are we doing?
You're like, all right, we're gonna start cold plunging, I guess.
Yeah, I'm like, or just have 24 hours of like really intense labor and get through it any way you can and
Right, exactly.
don't torture your poor hands.
Right? Oh my goodness. I love the thought of like staying at home for as long as possible because I feel like it's like in the movies and everything. It's like water breaks, run to the hospital as fast as you can. And like obviously every labor is different, but like that sounds so ideal if you can like take your time and not be like in crisis mode.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what I'm really hoping for. So yeah, I'm gonna have my sister-in-law pick up Annie and just kind of like keep her down. They say like watch movies, try to like rest a little bit, eat something. Um,
Mm.
so I'm like, sure, just like have a nice time, make yourself comfy.
Yeah. Oh, what movie are you gonna watch? I feel like I've got to
I don't
pick
know,
a
but I did
good
actually pull out the book Untamed by Glennon Doyle because I'm like
mm,
maybe I'll want to like read a couple
like
little.
inspirational things.
Except who knows? I also, when I had Annie, Chad and I brought like board games to the hospital and all this crap. And it was like in our heads, we're like, we'll have all this time, whatever.
Yes.
Oh my God. Fuck no. So I might be
Yes.
total wrong with
You're
that
like,
one.
and we didn't even get to play any Scrabble.
Like I didn't even exactly we brought like cards and magazines and word searches. My God, I was in for it.
You're like, Chad, get me the Sudoku. I need to distract the pain.
Literally. Oh my God. So yeah,
Ah,
that's my plan.
we're so excited for you.
Me too. Me too.
And to all the listeners, don't be too sad because we have pre-recorded a bunch of really good interviews. So it's not like you're not going to hear from Caitlin. You're just going to be hearing from past Caitlin for a couple weeks.
Yeah, probably like talking back when I was like 3 months pregnant and
Yeah,
like
right?
random things. You guys are gonna be like, what the hell is this girl talking about? She's
What's going
losing
on?
it.
No, it's going to be great. So we have like at least a month's worth of Caitlin,
Yep.
and we're going to wing it for a little while, and then Caitlin will be back, and it's going to be great.
Heck yeah, girl. So excited.
We're so excited to see the babe, to meet the babe, to hear all about it.
I know. I feel like we should put on polls for Instagram of like if you
Mm,
can go be a boy or girl. Again, I still don't know. Everyone
yeah.
doesn't believe me. Like I don't know what the gender is. And then like what color hair or eyes or like birthday
Yeah.
or size, like all of those fun things. And then like maybe we can do whoever's closest gets like a shirt or something.
Yes, we totally should. Okay.
Yeah, that'll
On
be
it.
fun. Love
Oh,
it.
I still can't believe you don't know the gender. Like, I need to know. I'm so excited to find out.
No, I know. It is really cool. Like I'm so
Yeah.
happy to have gotten this far. Today I was in the doctors and I was like, "So tell me, how can I get this bad boy out?" And they were like, well, I don't know how you're gonna get your baby out. They'll come when they're ready." And I was like, "Don't say it's a boy or a girl." Like in my head, I was like,
Yes.
I just said it because I call everyone like bad boy or whatever.
Yeah.
I
I
was like,
typically call everyone bad boy.
oh my God, but I was so scared that I ruined it. And she was like, "Well, baby will come when they're ready." And I was like, "Okay. Thank God you didn't tell me the
You're
gender.
like,
That would have
fine.
sucked."
You're like, watch those pronouns, bad boy.
Yeah. Oh my God. All right. Well, I will see you guys on the other side and stay tuned for another babe.
For a baby. Beep, beep.